Hello and welcome back to Good Game Nation, where we bring you all things TCG. My name's Preston, and today we are doing the yellow color review for our Memorial Collection EB-01. And I think this is actually getting ahead of myself by saying it's a decent yellow set. There's definitely a couple cards, just like everyone, that I think have a ton of potential, and then there's some random stuff as well. We already talked about our leader in the previous video in the black color review. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, go check that out. So we'll jump straight into Viola, which is a pretty insane 2-cost card. So 2-cost 1k counter blocker that has a choice of 2 effects. On play, choose from the following effects. Look at the top card of look at all of your opponent's lives and place them in any order you like, or turn all of your lives face down. I can't imagine why you would use the second effect. I know that the yellow dual color brothers have some stuff with face up life, but rearranging all of your opponent's lives so that they don't get stuff at an advantageous time. You know exactly what's coming out of their life. You get a little bit of game knowledge that they'll never have. And you get to know what's in their deck. You know what they're playing more specifically. It's absolutely insane for a 2-cost character to see all of them and then rearrange all of them. I think that's just kind of silly. And a decent alt art on top of that. Moving on here, place up to one of your opponent's cost 3 or less face up to the top or bottom of your opponent's life. That's a pretty decent removal with the cost of your giving your opponent life. We see this happen like at higher stages with Katakuri and stuff, so it's not always a bad thing as long as you can get through those lives and take away that card advantage by removing something early on. It depends really on what the meta is. I don't know if this is strictly important to be played right now. I could see it becoming more meta relevant, especially if we're going to get a lot of lost stuff moving forward and supernovas are going to gain that traction back. That it might be nice to get rid of something so that they don't have it and you can just possibly banish it at some point, because yellow does crazy stuff nowadays. A blocker that KOs, I just don't know what this is for. I feel like they did Enel in his side of Skypiea, and then they started to introduce everybody else, and it just doesn't feel cohesive to me. Another Big Mom pirate, random support for Big Mom, just a big character. I feel like that's a little too late for the Whitebeard meta. And then we get another really good low-cost card. So 1 cost, 1k, 2k counter. On play, add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand and draw 1. So at a cost of losing life, you get 2 cards in your hand. That's pretty crazy. Back in the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, I would play the blue Vegeta because I was able to add life to my hand to give myself hand advantage and then push things through a little bit faster. Being able to draw a life and a card from your hand when you know you're able to put more life into to that area from the top of your deck at some point feels like a really good card. I want to see this being played. I don't know what the state of yellow is in OP06. If like the Katakuris that are hanging around are going to be using this. I feel like the speed advantage is really nice. So getting 2 cards on turn 1 feels like it's going to be a really advantageous play. I think purple was my number 1 for this set. I think yellow is my number 2 because we got another really cool card here at a 2-cost 1k counter blocker Shirahoshi. When this character is KO'd by your opponent's effects, add up to 1 card from the top or bottom of your life. from the top of your deck to your life. So if they clear it, then you get to gain life. That's pretty cool. I thought when I first read it that it was when it was KO'd. So on the block it would get it. So it's a little less exciting on the second read when you actually read it correctly. But stuff gets cleared all the time. Red wants to clear stuff by minusing power. This has low power. Black wants to kill stuff and probably remove blockers by reducing cost. This already has a low cost. So there's a chance that this character gets KO'd and you get to gain a life off of it. And if they don't, you get to block with it, which also is quite nice. And a nice cutie Shirahoshi art to go with it. I don't know where this card lands. It is a 6k swing, 2 cost, 3k power base with a 1k counter. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. We got a lot of Enel side, and now we're getting other cards, and I just don't know where it fits. We're going to move on to our last two, the event cards. KO up to one of your opponent's characters, then put into the trash all your life until you have 1 life. KO up to one of your opponent's cost less or equal to the total number of lives in both players. I think this is really interesting if it's ruled that you can play when you're at 1 or less life, and that restriction is like removed, so you don't actually get to pay the life. A 6 cost KOing anything also feels really good. I don't know where yellow stands on KO potential. I've really been playing a lot of like red and purple, so I just don't know where this card sits as a usable card for 6 Dawn. That's a majority of your turn to clear a card, so it might be worth it, but yellow might have other ways to clear cards like Katakuri's and stuff like that. And then there's the card is just being translated as my god. That's funny. It's making an L card with 7 or less appear from your hand or trash, then put all your cards until you have 1 life. Trigger, draw 2 cards, discard 1. Making an L appear from your trash for 4 is really interesting because the L generally doesn't go away easily. And then the restriction of going down to 1 life might not matter, especially if you are using it on a late game Enel that's already disappeared once. So if your life is already low, you don't really care if you use this card, and then you get a big swing back. It could be really interesting to try to get your Enels into your trash early somehow with a draw 1, discard 1 type of thing, and then play this turn 2, which could be advantageous with different leaders that we've seen already, or even doing this turn 2 or 3 when you're already low in life, or 3 or 4 when you're already low in life, and then using the Enel leader sustain to keep going, and then the crazy yellow stuff like late game Yamatos and stuff like that to regain life so that you can bring a big character on board. The minusing life doesn't hurt too much if you're already super low, and then using all of your abilities to regain life so that you sustain through all of your opponent's shenanigans. But I think this has a lot of potential in the characters, and then there's some weird stuff in here as well, of course. But Shirahoshi, the brat from Granpei, Charlotte Granpei, and Viola, I think are really great cards. I think Caesar might find its place at some point, which really puts yellow high in my esteem. And it might just be that this is the last one, so I just have this on my mind and I don't remember how good red was. But overall, having the effect that these cards have feels so much better than everything else we've gotten. Purple has Bon Clay that is incredible. This has Frampe and Viola that are incredible. I think the purple stuff still wins out in my opinion, and yellow being a close second is not a bad thing. But overall, I think this is a great set for yellow. It's a great set to improve on what we've gotten. It does it way better than a lot of the other sets have done. And I think that's what it set out to do, which is incredible that after everything comes out, it's looking pretty good. But with that being said, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to get more One Piece TCG content, hit that subscribe. And until next time, peace.